How are
Hello,
you?
I'm good, Shrigena.
Yeah, great. So, how is it in Kerala? Everything good?
Well, not the best time around the world, I think, but uh, we are thinking should we go back to lockdown or not? But let's leave it to God right now.
Absolutely. Very rightly said. We can only pray, you know.
Exactly. And keep the social distancing and wash your hands.
Yes, hygiene has become prime importance in our
Yes,
lives. Very important. Very important to clean your hands and take care of hygiene every now and then.
exactly.
Yeah, and I would like to thank you for coming to my page once again. This is the second live session
Thank
we are
you.
doing. Yeah. Thank you so much. And today's topic is very interesting.
Mhm.
My I have highly requested video. This is because I've got a lot of DMs from people regarding digestion
Yes.
and how Ayurveda treats digestion. So basically, why digestion is so important in Ayurveda, doc?
Okay, Ayurveda has a. It's not okay when you ask an Ayurvedic doctor is digestion important. He will say it's not just important; it is phonetically important. There is a phonetic obsession when it comes to digestion, when it comes to Ayurveda. The
Mm-hmm.
reason is you are actually what you digest.
Mm-hmm.
And your ability to digest, see, the word digest means it is to process things that we intake into our gut. And also, it's also the way when we question the aspect when it comes to digestion. Whenever we see any issues with blood or skin or health, anything related with health, we see that if your digestion is weak, your health is weak. If your digestion is great, your health is great. And if you eat something that you feel unhealthy, afterwards you're feeling heavy or bloated, you're going to carry on the same energy to everything else in your life. So that is why digestion is so important in Ayurveda.
Okay, lovely. So, doc, are there any symptoms for bad digestion? How do we recognize?
Okay, so when it comes to bad digestion, see, after we have our food, we should feel light and energetic. And after we eat food, if you're feeling heavy, bloated, and gassy, or you have acid reflux or heartburns, that means your digestion is a bit upset. And some people say they don't have any hunger at all. Some people say they are having extraordinary cravings. So all these things have to be taken into consideration. So if you're feeling any of these symptoms, that means your digestion needs to be corrected. Some people have issues like irritable bowel syndrome, like, the moment they eat food, they go to the toilet. Or some people have constipation, which is quite chronic in nature. So all of this is there. So we have to look into all of this into consideration.
And how do you know that your digestion is good?
See, if you're one of the signs of healthy digestion is you are pooping healthy every day and you have good hunger before every meal that you eat and you are not overeating and after the meal you feel light and energetic. All these
Okay,
are signs and symptoms of healthy digestion.
lovely. And what does Ayurveda advise to have a healthy digestion?
Now, one of the things why today people are so heavy, have feeling heavy after food is we have a tendency of binge eating and overeating. And today, sugar is considered to be one of the best non-prescriptive antidepressants. Whenever people feel sick or sad or depressed or anxious, they go and eat sugar. And the reason is, see, our brain is designed in such a way that whenever we feel low in energy, we should go and eat food so that our energy gets high. So today, what is happening is at that time when the brain was being evolved with nature, the food abundance was not so much like what it is today. And today, the food is so widely abundant. We can just eat and have access to food whenever we just by a press in your mobile, food will come to your doorstep. and that too the most tastiest and the one with the maximum sugar. So when you keep consuming all of this, what is happening is there is a limit how much we can digest in life, and there is a limit how much we can digest food. There is also a saying, if you love to eat little so you live long enough so that you can eat a lot. So all of this has to be taken into consideration.
So, is there a proportion that you need to watch
Yes.
out for?
Yes. So if we take the whole of our stomach as one part, 1/3 of the stomach is for what we can eat. The rest 1/3 is for the liquids, and the rest 1/3 is just emptiness. So after the food, when you feel that I can eat little more, then you have to really stop. And if
Okay.
you're eating more because you want to fill up, then that is unhealthy. See, you can never eat for the next 2-3 days at one time. You can only eat for the next 4-5 hours, no matter how much you can eat, because you're going to get hungry. So the more you eat, you're giving more trouble for your digestion to process. So the minimum, there is something called as minimum dosage. See, if you stay in sun for 15 minutes, you get melanin activated. And if you stay for 30 minutes, you're not going to get it activated. I mean, it's not that you won't get it activated. You will get it activated, but it's a waste of time. So anything more than certain dosage, you are only eating it for your gastronomic pleasure, not for your energy needs. See, the concept that the more I eat, the more energy I have, it is not applicable entirely here.
Hmm.
And
So
that is why we have more people suffering from obesity than any other time.
everything should be in proportion.
Yes, proportion and moderation. Yes.
Correct.
And
Would you like to? Yes. Go on.
also Ayurveda talks about compatibility of food. If you try to mix incompatible food, this can create a lot of problems.
So, what are
Like,
compatible foods like for digestion?
no, more than compatible foods, I'll tell you what are incompatible foods.
Okay, perfect.
So, see, when you want to put waste, in healthy cities, you'll see waste segregation happening. Waste segregation is you don't mix plastic with food waste. You don't put electronic waste with plastic and other food waste. So everything is separated. So this separation is because every waste has a different way of processing it and recycling it. In the same way, every food that we eat, if it is proteins have a different enzyme to process. If it is sugar has a different enzyme to process.
Mm-hmm.
But if you mix extreme like meat with milk products, your tendency to have bloating and gas is very high.
When you
So
mix
it is
meat
like
and milk.
meat and milk products. It
Yes.
is not that something will go wrong. Your digestion will take a longer period. So all of this will happen. So it is very important that certain things have to be separated. You should not eat it all together. Like, for example, in Ayurveda, we say if you mix fish with milk or curd, also it creates a lot of skin problems.
Okay.
And one thing that you see is cheeseburger is something which is very common. You have meat and cheese in that. That if you eat, you will feel very heavy and you will not have hunger for a long period. So this has to be separated. Have it separately, so then the digestion will be improved. Some people say they are fine with that, but it is not that they are fine. Your body has a high tolerance level, so they are able to accept it.
Any other food which is bad for digestion?
It is not that. See, if your digestion is bad, even if you eat the healthiest food, you're not able to digest.
No,
But
Doc, I mean the combination.
Yes.
Any other bad combination?
These are the two things. Milk products with protein, milk products with meat is not healthy. So, and also fruits with milk. Some people take orange juice and then immediately they have chai with milk. This can create diarrhea in some people immediately.
Smoothies.
Yes, exactly. So milk and also frozen food. Frozen food is not healthy because once you take a lot of frozen food, this can create a lot of your channels can get blocked. So frozen food is not highly recommended at all.
Okay, lovely. So can you tell us which foods are easily digestible? How much time does vegetable take to digest? How much time does fruit take to digest? And how much time does meat take to digest in body?
So if you take it that way, the best way to understand, any fruits that are rich in water are easy to digest. And any fruit, any vegetables, if you can slightly warm it up, then it's much easier to digest. See, some people I see in my practice, when people are eating raw vegetables or raw food, they say that they are having more gas than before. So if you're eating food and that is producing a lot of gas, that means your digestion needs to be upgraded. And that food needs to be cooked. If it is raw food and if you're feeling gassy, that means that needs to shift. So that is one aspect that you need to take into consideration.
So you need to basically read your body every time you put anything in your mouth. You need to, monitor it.
Yes, you see, your body is the best doctor. You need to be very alert with your feedback system. And one of the things that I tell people is to journal what you're eating and whatever cravings you're having, and write down what it is that you want. And if you eat something, how do you feel afterwards? Including your emotions. See, depending on the food we eat, it will also affect our emotions and our energy levels. So,
right.
To your question, fruits are the easiest to digest, the fruits which are rich in water. Vegetables also are easy to digest. If it is boiled slightly, then it will be easy to digest. Then meat is the least heaviest. And the worst food is the processed food. See, any food that has a huge shelf life. Shelf life means if it is lasting longer in the shelf, that food will take longer to digest than food which is having the least shelf life.
True. So, does Ayurveda recommend any kind of herbs which are good for digestion?
See, we have various herbs. I mean, we call it ama pachana. Ama means that which is sticky in nature. See, if you eat a lot of food that are sticky in nature, your digestion will get hampered. So, the herbs that we get, pepper is considered to be very good. Ginger is considered to be one of the best digestives. It improves your digestion. It improves your hunger. See, today people are not able to differentiate what is hunger and what is craving. Most of them are eating for craving rather than hunger. See, hunger is when your body wants energy, and craving is your mind wants entertainment. See? So, how to understand that? If in order to getting back your hunger is one of the foundations of a health. So we have to look into that.
Yeah, the Ampachan. What did you say is the name of the herb?
No, the herbs are ginger, pepper, Triphala is considered one among them. To a great extent, garlic is also hot in nature. If you blend it with garlic, it's also hot in nature. And then to a certain extent, turmeric is there, fenugreek is good, ajwain. All of this helps to improve your digestive power.
Okay, so you don't have to buy anything over the counter and have.
No, I'm talking about herbs and spices that you can use at your home.
Yes, that we can use at home, but you don't have to buy anything from outside, no churran or no herbs.
For that churran, if you want to improve your hunger levels and also if you're having too much of gas, there is one churran called Hingwashtak churran.
Sorry?
In North India, Hingwashtaka churna. Hingwashtaka churna. This is a very good appetizer. This improves your digestion.
So you need to have this before or after?
I wouldn't prescribe this on a public platform. Usually, I would do this with a personal person. But usually, in some people, we recommend it after the food. In some people, if the situation is really worse, we recommend it in empty stomach.
Okay, lovely. So, Doc, and how can we detox our body? Detox our gut, basically.
See, one of the best therapies is called as Panchakarma, but that is not something I recommend to do at home. But there are some things that you can do at home. One of the therapies is like fasting. Fasting is fantastic. You can skip 1 or 2 meals, like you can skip the breakfast and lunch, and then you can have a very light dinner.
Yeah, I just need to ask you something. Before we go on to fasting, can you just give a little description about what is Panchakarma?
See, Panchakarma is a way to detox your whole system. See, our body is a waste eliminating process. We are constantly producing waste. And Panchakarma is a way to cleanse your system. So we have 5 therapies. One is Nasim, where we pour oil to your nose and cleanse your nasal passage. The second one is vomiting, where you drink something and expel the mucus that is in the upper respiratory tract. And then it is called as purgation, where you eat something and cleanse your gut. And then we have enemas, and then we have bloodletting. So these are the 5 therapies. So by doing this, we are detoxing the whole system.
Okay, lovely. And how do fasting cleans your gut or detoxes your gut?
See, when you leave your gut empty for some time, all the leftovers that are stuck in your body will also be eaten up, or it will be digested. So fasting is a very powerful, and in some cultures, it is also a religious process. Like, we have Ekadashi, where you don't eat anything on that day. And in Islam, they have this Ramadan, where you don't eat for a sustained period of time. So depending on different cultures, they have different fasting rules.
Navratri.
Yeah, Navratri. So there are different ways of fasting. But in a medical perspective, if you are not having hunger for a very long period, then I highly recommend fasting. You can just take warm water only fasting. All you do is just drink warm water for one particular day. If you are doing it more than one day, then I recommend you do it with the medical professional's observation, or you need to know you are under observation by somebody who knows how to do it. But if you're planning to do it at home, if you are not underweight, if you're not having any anemia or any other conditions, then doing a fasting, like skipping the lunch or breakfast together, and then you are having very light dinner. Or some people, what they do is they have breakfast, but they skip lunch and dinner. And all they do is just take warm water. So this is one therapy you can do. And some people, what they do is alternate days. They do it for a period of like 1 week. Every alternate days, they have light food like khichdi or soup or just rice soup. So the whole ama in their gut can get digested.
Okay, lovely. So,
One
would you
point
like
I forgot to mention. See, after the fasting, the next day they are supposed to make sure that they are not eating anything heavy. They have to eat something light.
Okay. And what is the time that you recommend for fasting? Like, what is the window? You need to fast for 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours. If someone wants to do it for a regular basis, if like this fad is happening, like we say intermittent fasting, where you, like you said, you either eat your breakfast or your lunch, or you just skip your breakfast and eat your lunch and dinner. So what is the precise window, or the window is same for everyone, or how much one should like fast for?
See, when it comes to that, there is no universal formula. This size fits for everyone. It will be customized according to every person. But let's say a person is overweight and they are having too much of allergies and they are not able to digest their food well. They're having over acidity and such kind of situation. In such situations, fasting up to 16 hours is fantastic.
If they have acidity?
Yes. I mean, if they have high acidity, then they have to eat something very light. See, in some people, what I recommend, they can have some healthy fruits, like warm fruits, not like cold fruits which is rich in sugar. Like some healthy fruits that are easy to digest, that once in a while they can take it. This will help them to sustain that process. It is like you're cheating your hunger. You're just feeding something so that your hunger goes low and then you can take it up.
Okay, lovely. And is fasting recommended for people who have diabetes or BP? Is it recommended for them?
No, I wouldn't recommend for blood pressure. They have to, for diabetes, what I recommend is eating fixed on time instead of eating whenever they want. Just by eating regularly on time, that itself will be helpful than the other things.
Okay, lovely. And for healthy body, someone who is extremely healthy, how long a person can fast for on regular basis?
See, more than fasting, what I recommend today, if you are eating healthy and on time, see, people ask, should we eat on time or should we eat only when we are hungry? According to Ayurveda, you should be hungry on time. And then when you eat on time, that is when you are becoming healthy. So that way you can get into that. So if they are healthy, I would recommend fasting like once in a month or once in 3 months. That is more than enough.
Once in a month.
I mean, if they have a ritual, some people practice Ekadashi, some people do it just as a part. When you fast, it's one of the easiest ways of detox therapies.
Yeah, so can we fast like intermittent fasting? Can you do it every single day? Because I have known people who do it like, they go on OMAD, like 1 meal a day, like 2 meals a day, and they do it on regular basis. So is it recommended?
See, if they are doing it for weight loss, then I don't recommend it. Because if you do fasting for weight loss, you will gain it back very fast. Some people do it for spiritual purpose. Some people do it for religious purpose. Some people do it because their doctor said they want to improve their digestion. So as long as it is not for weight loss, it is fine. If they are doing it for weight loss, then they are tricking the body and the body will gain it back much faster. So it has to be combined with exercise and other aspects.
Okay, lovely. I wanted to ask you, as you're talking about digestion, people without gallbladder, they have this issue of digestion because they don't have gallbladder. Like they have stones, and so many people remove their gallbladder. So, yes. So what is the best thing for them? Can they fast?
For people with gallbladder, what I would recommend is keeping a fixed schedule for their food habits.
People without gallbladder.
Avoiding, people without gallbladder, they have to stick to a schedule for their eating, like breakfast on a particular time, lunch on a particular time, dinner on a particular time. And avoiding heavy fried food and less sugar. This is the way they can continue for that.
Yeah, because there's no bile juice in their...
Exactly. So they don't have the luxury to eat whenever they want. In general, even for a healthy person, if they continue eating unhealthy times for a long period of time, their digestion will get hampered. But for a person without gallbladder, they don't have the luxury to eat whenever they want.
Okay, lovely. Is there anything else you would like to say about gut?
Take care of your gut like it is the most important thing in your life. Because there's a saying, if you take care of your digestion for the first 50 years, your good digestion will take care of you for the next 50 years. So digestion is a very important part of our whole thing. And today we are understanding the relationship between our emotions and the food we eat, and also our gut and our brain. So many diseases of the nervous system, they are relating it to the efficiency of our gut. So always be aware what is going in your mouth. If you're abusing your body with overfood, binge eating, and that is going to take a heavy toll later in your life. And most of the diseases that people are suffering today are preventable, and just by changing your just by changing your food habits. And your digestion also is dependent on your exercise, how much you're exercising, how much you're hydrating, and how good is your sleep. So all of these will fall into its factors. So take care of your digestion as it's the most important thing, and everything else it will take care of. So that's the most important.
Yeah, because the lifestyle is also very important. What time you eat, sleep, exercise, everything goes hand in hand.
Exactly.
Also, I wanted to ask you that people who suffer from constipation, loose motions on regular basis, they have this bad stomach all the time. What should they do to keep their gut healthy?
For people who are having constipation, they have to move their body. They have to hydrate themselves. They have to cut down on food that absorbs a lot of water. And at early morning, after they get up, they should hydrate with warm water. And if they can go for a brisk walking, this will help to eliminate that in the long run. And they should avoid laxative abuse. Some people, they keep taking laxative to go to toilet. That is very dangerous.
Like,
Some people take isbagul, some people need cigarettes, some people need newspapers, some people need coffee. Okay, these are different things. But what I'm saying is, if they can get up and by drinking some hot water, and if they can go to toilet, that's the best. And you
okay.
train your gut in such a way that every time you get up in the morning, your bowel is normal.
Yeah, lovely. And people who suffer from loose motion,
People
basically dairy, when they have, when someone, you know, they have milk
Yes,
and
yes. So in such people, they have to eliminate that for some period. It's just that they are having lactose intolerance. That's why they are having that. And then slowly, once that memory goes away, they can reintroduce little by little.
okay. And people who are gluten, allergic to gluten,
For them, the best is reduce the gluten intake for at least 3 to 6 months.
and yeah, doc, sorry. Hi.
Sorry.
We are back. Yeah. Thank you so much for all your questions. I think you have answered all the questions. And it was a lovely session. Thank you. I can just say thank you.
Thank you, Divin.
Yeah. So I guess we can end the session and we'll do another topic very frequently.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye, guys.